These kids are just like the Mystery Gang if Shaggy was Leonard from The Big Bang Theory and Scooby was a Ryan Felipe-shaped Andrew Tate. Also, if they tried to hide crimes instead of solve them, but sucked at it.
What you did last summer.
You know, I really like to believe that the modern teen TV genre, just absolutely chock-a-block with nonsense, wouldn't have existed without this crap coming first. Yes, it's the original ripoff of Scream. And, I mean, Scream was already like 3 levels of meta down the slasher rabbit hole. There comes a point, guys, when you've just strayed too far from the pack. I Know What You Did Last Summer tries to invoke more of a mystery investigation around doing Scream. It's still the popular group of high school friends where all the guys are awful, as proven immediately by them combining to run a guy over and then dump his body in the ocean even though he's not actually dead. So then a year later, after all having already brutally found out what peaking in high school is like, they return to their little old fishing village, get together again to investigate a letter that says I know what you did last summer, which comes from a mysterious fisherman who murders people with a hook and is comfortable with going after a lot of innocent people, considering that he's going after them for having committed a crime. This sucked, yeah. It's not a terrible film, but the fact that they made a franchise out of this is insane, because it was already only popular or worked at all because Scream was right there being popular at that time. And then they're doing it again. They're releasing a requel because Scream released a requel and it went well. It's embarrassing how much this whole franchise is just a leech. This is not a completely tragic film. But the worst thing about it by far is that they play it way more seriously than Scream does. Scream knows it's kind of meta and silly and it likes that about itself, and we like it about Scream. This plays itself deadly serious, even when it's doing things that you couldn't possibly take seriously. The killer omnipotence in this film is the worst case of it I've ever seen in the horror genre, which is insane because the horror genre has endless demons that can just do whatever they want. But this killer is worse. There is a scene where the main girl finds a body in her trunk, in her car. She's driving it, she stops in the middle of a suburban street, middle of the day. She gets out, finds the body. It's covered in ice and crabs. Oh, huge mess in her trunk. She runs to her friend's house, like right down the road, brings them back to see it, opens the trunk, and it's all gone. It's completely clean. There isn't a drop of water left from the ice. There's not a crab left behind. The killer had like 3 minutes to clean that up in the middle of a street, sunlit suburban street. It just, I don't hate this film, but it is the most slap yourself in the face with the lack of logic kind of film, and it doesn't have, like, it's not fun enough or interesting enough as a plot to get away with how bald-faced dumb the script is. I do think it's got a really nice cast, but it's mostly misused. I feel like Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. have passable characters. Jennifer Love Hewitt's character is just a complete lack of personality, and Ryan Felipe manages to play the most toxic man in the 90s. Which is really saying something. God! The entire sequence around Sarah Michelle Gellar's character being chased down is by far the best part of the film. I will admit that it has pretty good chase sequences. That one in particular is cinema. Wonderful, actually. It is really good. The problem is it just doesn't have anything else behind that. It doesn't have any actual plot that's good. It doesn't have mostly good characters. It has a terrible script. So it's just a shame, you know? But at least if they couldn't make a good film, they could make a long and happy lasting marriage between Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., eh? That's nice, I suppose. But it's the height of 90s trash. It's not terrible, but it had the shelf life of milk. I can't believe that they didn't stop at 1 for this. Even the creation of this was so shamefacedly ripping off stuff that I shouldn't be surprised either, you know? I'm giving Independence Day for Bisexuals 2.5 stars. Nice little Throwback Thursday there. That's right, the channel members choose every Throwback Thursday, every Thursday that is, what we should rewatch, and my goodness, do they pick a random load of crap. But this one at least makes sense, because the new one's coming out this week, yeah. So I guess you could just subscribe, but you could also get a channel membership if you wanted to vote on this kind of thing and make me feel pain.